fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to him!
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
We have come to Daytona to decide a champion. This is the final round of Club Day Masters, presented by Aussie Karts. Well, what a place to come to bring to an end the season, to write large everything we've seen all season long from these TCR cars, how they draft, how they race, the knowledge in the pack, and a little bit of bumping and barging and dooring here, there along the way, mixed in with some safety car strategy and some fuel strategy, all of that and more this evening. And then a champion in Club Day Masters. I'm David Haynes, I'm joined by Cam Dance. We've got Jay Kennedy on the cameras. And Cam, you've been with me almost all season long here. What are you expecting tonight, and what are we going to be looking out for?
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a very, very interesting night of racing. I mean, the fact that we're at Daytona, you've got massive amounts of straights to challenge each other with in the draft and everything. It's going to be very, very much a matter of being very, very strategic and planning your moves out well in advance so that you don't hold yourself up or hold up anyone around you. So it's going to be very, very fascinating to see how this race plays out. And obviously, there's a few people fighting for various different places in the championship as well. So them making sure that they get as many points as possible is really going to be key.
Absolutely. This is the championship picture. Jack Boyd leads 7 wins. It has been his season and his championship so far, but Aaron Oliver still within mathematical striking distance of the lead with 200 points up for grabs in the win in today's 1 hour race. So Jack Boyd needs to make sure he sees that checkered flag. Everything else, I think, would just be icing on the cake at this point. I'm sure he'd love to bring it home with a podium or a win for sure, but a finish will just about do it for Jack Boyd with the points advantage he has got. Vartanian in 3rd, Harrison in 4th, Christopher Henn in 5th as well. There's definitely still a few close battles there. Skariev scraping into the top 10 ahead of Brady Buchanan and Adam Sharp as well. Those are all pretty close. So a good result here at Daytona could see someone jump into the top 10. But before we can go racing, we are qualifying right now, and you can see all cars out on the track at once. Different from our normal qualifying format. That's going to put some stress on the drivers potentially, because open qualifying at Daytona, Cam, I think that means you've got to have some friends, you've got to have someone to work with you. If you're all on your lonesome or you're in a nasty pack, you're not going to have a great qualifying.
Yeah, certainly. If you're all out on your own in no man's land, you're certainly not going to be lighting up the timesheets and putting yourself on pole by any means. But certainly that 20 minutes of qualifying instead of the normal 10 minutes is certainly going to make it a little bit less stressful for a lot of these drivers to get a lap in, and certainly is going to open that door for the ability to work with a lot of drivers as well to help yourself and get a very, very good lap on the board. But certainly getting that draft and making sure you've got one for pretty much as long as you possibly can around the lap is going to be very, very critical, and you're going to see that a lot with a number of drivers setting some very, very quick lap times that without a draft you really aren't going to get anywhere near.
Jay Kennedy's no rooftop ray, we've just worked that one out, but some of the very, very first times are going to start coming in as the drivers settle in and get up to speed. This is not where the times are going to stop. It's going to keep getting lower and lower as they raise the bar and the times get faster. But Jack Boyd, the pole provisionally just ahead of Lee Harrison. We saw Lee Harrison and Ivan Vantagiato working together out there. These guys with their matching liveries with the series sponsors. digital marketing tribe that is Opportune Modbury and Golden Grove and KP Tech, right?
Gotta say yes.
Good. I think they are all scrolling through in the top left on the graphics package as well. That's shiny. Not all that glitters is gold. But Matthew McMillan has gone to 7th in qualifying at the moment. And I tell you what, it's always really, really nice, even if it means nothing, to get your lap time underneath that big 2-minute barrier. I think the drivers with a 158 or a 159, gosh, you just want to be underneath a milestone like that.
Yes, certainly, and it's very, very challenging, as we've seen with a couple of these drivers. That it is actually a little bit of a challenge to get under that 2-minute bracket with the lap time and speeds that these things do around this sort of track. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge for some of these drivers to get under that 2-minute bracket, but certainly they're going to be pushing very, very hard to try and make it happen at least.
Promised a track map. Did we get a track map? We've got a good onboard from Nick Scariev here, as he shows us the Daytona road course, very much in vogue lately, of course. We've just had the Rolex 24. We've just had the, all 3 tiers of NASCAR racing here. Cam, you're a big fan of this track. Tell us about it.
Well, it's certainly just by the beach, so if you end up DNFing, you can go and just get a tan or have a little bit of a relaxation session.
Don't lie, you don't tan.
Oh, I don't. I just turned into a hot dog. But certainly, it's a very, very unique track, and certainly one we've come to know very, very well here on at least iRacing, with the fact that you've got the 24 hours, the 500, and various other events around this sort of track. So it's going to be very much a track that offers up a lot of draft and offers up a lot of ability to work together with drivers, and requires a lot of racecraft as well, with the fact that you've got that massive amounts of area to draft, especially around the oval. So it's certainly one of those tracks where it's not going to be one on the first lap if you're in a massive pack. It's going to be one on the last.
There it is, right next to the Daytona Beach Airport. And that is actually live pictures from, we're going to call it a drone, we're going to call it a blimp. You can see the cars going around, laying down a little bit of rubber as they go. It is 21 degrees Celsius on the track, which is quite cool. Very conducive to finding some speed, like Dylan Burse has managed to do with a 157.5, and he set that while we were looking at the track map and guide. I want to say he got quite a decent toe on that lap as well.
Yeah, I kind of want to say that. I'm not exactly sure if he did, but certainly it's a very, very quick lap time when you compare it to...
Not lonely, is he?
No, he's certainly got at least an extra 2 cars in front of him when he finished that lap on the way down towards the start-finish line. So certainly did get a little bit of help on that lap that he did, but we'll see what's going to happen here, and we'll see if Mario Vartanian can try and go a little bit quicker as well on this lap, with the fact that he's got a few cars ahead of him.
It's going to be side by side to the line, like we hope to see at the end of an hour coming up. And Vartanian is going to go to second, so he got a very nice slipstream off these guys, particularly that run from the bus stop to the finish line. And Aaron Oliver, no time yet. Is that a surprise to you? That's a little surprising to me.
Yeah, it certainly is a little bit of a surprise, considering he's on his 3rd lap now, so not quite sure what's going on here, whether he's possibly just got off tracks or what the story is. I wouldn't say he'd be waiting for the session to go on a little bit longer, with the fact that it's not exactly going to be cooling down anytime soon, with the fact that we're going into the day from the morning, so you're not quite sure. But that bus stop certainly is going to be one that's going to cause a lot of off tracks, and I'd say he's probably just got one again, so certainly isn't quite the big curbs and the ability to be as aggressive as he used to be with the new Daytona.
All of a sudden, those turtles don't seem like such a horrid idea. Crazy to me, right? We were just talking about the layout of the road course here and the history. Is it weird that it took NASCAR this long to race on the road course? Like, why did no one have that idea like 20 years ago?
I want to say it is, but then again, it's NASCAR, and they don't exactly do things in ways that people would imagine. So I'm going to say probably yes and no.
Like, they've had road course races on the calendar for forever, and then, you know, the one that was like in their own backyard, you know, at their biggest, most famous track, they were like, nah, that can wait until, you know, a global pandemic and we've got nowhere else we're allowed to race. And it's like, oh, that's actually a good idea. Let's come back. But anyway, enough about that, because qualifying still going on, and there's improvement from Dylan Burst, there's improvement from Mario Vartanian. So a lot more speed happening out there. Brady Buchanan is going to go underneath that crucial 2 minutes as well. Darren Sharp, in one of my favourite liveries, is also going to find a slight improvement on his lap time. So with just under half of it still to go, not a lot of pit stops or new sets of tyres or anything going on. These guys are getting out there and getting after it, trying to find speed lap after lap. No one, everyone with a top 10 time has been out there since the start of the session. Andrew Hobby goes and ruins my nice fact by going for a new set of tyres from 9th place. But I honestly thought we were going to see guys sort of doing 3-lap runs and then looking for another set of tyres, but a lot of them are staying out there.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting that they're deciding to do that, possibly trying to burn off as much fuel as possible before coming back in and then refueling and putting some tyres on. But who knows what the strategy is. But Aaron Oliver still yet to set a representative lap time as well, with the fact that he's still yet to get a lap, and he did get an off track on this lap. Well, bail out of this lap at least, so he's not going to set a representative lap time this time by, but he will trying to get another one on his 5th attempt at least.
That's what they say, isn't it? You know, 5th time's the charm. That looks like Vantagiato and Harrison in front of him. They're practicing some slightly unique lines. You're right, still no time for Aaron Oliver. Just, has he never heard of a banker lap?
You'd hope he has.
1 year go and it's full attack.
We'll see if he can try and set a time this time around. He's going to have 2 cars draft as well in front of him, with the fact that he's got Vantagiato and Harrison just ahead of him. So should at least get a lap time in here. That's not too bad if he doesn't get an off track on this lap, but certainly going to be hoping that he gets a lap time in at some point, because otherwise he's going to eventually run out of time and be starting down the back of the grid, which is probably not what you want to be doing when you're sitting second in the standings.
Exactly. Well, you want a slipstream, but he definitely wasn't helped in the infield on this particular one.
Yes,
I looked at the AIM website earlier today, and the model, I was looking, scrolling, and I was like, half of these look familiar. Why do they look familiar? And one of them is the dash that's in these cars. Pricey little things, but
certainly don't come cheap, these little dashes, and I'm pretty sure they're used in every single TCR model, I want to say. They're at least using the VW, I know that.
There's a cheaper one that's in the MX-5 Cup cars. This is the more expensive model.
Yeah. I must say, though, I do actually like the MX-5 version more than this one. I don't know why.
More, right? Because it's got the circular top bit with the revs, and looks more like, yeah. Come on, Jay, delete that camera. The one on the left, that is. But Aaron Oliver, woo! He's got a lap time, and it's for 10th.
So Oliver finally getting a lap time in and putting himself in the top 10 as well. Probably could have been possibly 9th or maybe 8th if he didn't get balked on the infield on that lap. But at least he's got a lap time on the board, and he's at least starting inside the top 10 at the moment. So he'll be reasonably okay with that at this stage, at least.
Glenn Boyd. Well, that lap he just set down, I wanna hope was an out lap, because a 2-minute 27 was definitely not representative. Maybe he's just trying to line himself up. Here's some teammates. Not a bad race to have yourself a teammate, especially in qualifying. Hyde's one of 2 drivers without a qualifying time at the moment, though. Looks like it's his job to help Vartanian. Of course, the other driver, Jay, picks up to complete the pairing, as Matthew Hansford-Taylor doesn't have a time yet. He comes to the finish line, and he does have one now for 17th.
Yeah, and under the 2-minute barrier as well. There's actually no one under below the 2-minute barrier as well now. So everybody is well and truly under there.
Yeah, with just about 4 minutes left in qualifying, they are all picking up the pace. It looks a bit crowded here in front of Jack Boyd, as he's got one driver practicing their pit entry, something they're going to have to do a couple times. Now this onboard tells us something that I guess is a key talking point for here at Daytona. That was the rev limiter all the way through the tri-oval, was it not?
Indeed, it was. And the fact that these cars don't actually have an adjustable gearing really does make it a little bit harder to pass, especially if you don't have a drafter. But that said, hitting the limiter as hard as you possibly can is going to offer up a little bit of an advantage in that you can have a slightly better top speed. So being hard on the limiter versus, say, 200 RPM less being on the limiter is certainly going to make quite a bit of difference on the run to the line.
So that's a thing that happens in these TCR cars at a couple of the really, really high-speed tracks, is at the end of the straight, they just run out of gear at the top of 6th gear and start banging against the limiter. It can happen with a slipstream coming down Conrod Straight at Bathurst. It can happen here. I bet you Le Mans no chicanes. You would lose your mind at the top of 6th gear in these TCR cars doing that one. Andrew Hobby's got a very, very clear track in front of him. And here's my Daytona Beach Flight Center fact. You can only fly to 2 places from Daytona Beach Airport, and they are Charlotte on American Eagle and Atlanta on Delta.
I'm actually surprised that there's that few places you can actually fly to from this sort of show. It kind of doesn't make sense then with how they'd actually schedule out the NASCAR schedule.
Yeah, I mean, but then you can fly to anywhere in the US from Atlanta. So that's just because everything is so hub and spokey. You're one connection away from the rest of the world, but not a whole lot of direct flights into Daytona Beach. Aaron Oliver has put down another lap. It's an improvement. He has saved, I guess, the best for last. He's still only looking at the top 10, and he's a little bit short on assistance out there. And it seems like though his last couple seconds are very dependent on being in the right place at the right time, picking up a slipstream. No doubt a good tow from turn 6 through to the bus stop, and from the bus stop through to the finish line could be worth a second and a half pretty easily in these cars, you'd imagine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd imagine they would be.
I mean, it's not going to be 2 tenths, is it? It's going to be a lot. You know, the pole lap is going to be the pole lap because it got hooked up with a good draft. It's like Monza in F1, or you know, the draft makes or breaks the qualifying at Daytona.
Yeah, it certainly does. You'd have to imagine it's at least 3 tenths, I want to say, possibly half a second in these things. Definitely not a second.
From the line down into turn 1, and from turn 6 around to the bus stop, and from the bus stop to the finish line, you think not a second? Surely if you're like 7 tenths off someone coming out of the bus stop, you're level with them coming to the line, right? I mean, that would mean the draft is worth like 6-7 tenths just on that section.
I want to say yes, but that said, you're on the limiter, bear in mind. So your closing speed is not exactly going to be increasing as you get closer and closer to the limiter. And once you get on that limiter, it's not exactly going to be having that gap closed in a dramatic fashion like you might have with another car that has adjustable gearing. So it's possible, but I don't think it would be.
Here's Dale Carpenter coming to the line, just been eyeballing it. I'd say he caught 3 or 4 tenths from the bus stop to the line there. So maybe I was a little dramatic, pay that. But an improvement for Dale Carpenter is going to knock Aaron Oliver into 11th, and Aaron's not on a track at the moment, so I'm not sure he's going to improve. As we come to the dying minutes of this session, the checkered flag is waving, so what you set now is best you are going to do. A little bit of an improvement for Matthew McMillan in his Bluebird and Chrome machine. And who else is actually still on a lap? Only a couple. Philip Paradiso is 1.
And then coming up to the start-finish at the line now, and he's going to cross it and do 2-minute 1, so not going to be an improvement there. I believe Jack Boyd is on 1 as well, so he'll be the last one to come across the line and finish his qualifying session. Just coming through the bus stop now, sitting at P3 as well. And going to be no draft on this lap, so I doubt he's going to improve at all.
Yeah, I mean, already you're looking at that time. It's not good. The poles are 157. He's already too late, and he's not even out of oval turn 4 just yet. So practice the pit entry potentially, because they're going to use it twice in this 1 hour race. Indeed he is, seeing how hard he can attack the line. And that'll be about that for qualifying. Now they've got to change up the mindset, get ready for a 1 hour race. Going to need 2 pit stops. There's going to be safety cars at some random point in the race, like what we've seen from the 2 race formats, except put together into one big 1 hour race tonight to bring the closed Club Day Masters. This is how they're going to line up on the grid. Dylan Burst and Mario Vartanian. Then Jack Boyd, starting out a 3rd, would I'm sure be delighted to finish there. That'd be enough for him to take the championship. Richard Brookfield in 4th. Ivan Fantagiato 5th. Adam Sharp 6th. Christopher Henn in 7th. Lee Harrison 8th. Liam Caplice 9. And Dale Carpenter for the top 10.
You're going to have Aaron Oliver just starting outside the top 10 in 11th. Got a little bit of work to do to move forward to get some very, very solid points towards the championship. P12 for Caleb Hydes with Matthew Hansford-Taylor and Shannon McMillan on row 7. Row 8 going to be Andrew Hobby, Damien Cairns, followed by Matthew McMillan and Sam Lehman, then Brady Buchanan and Greg Holmes running out the top 20 on row 10.
Yeah, and then there's just a couple more cars to bring out our field. They are Glenn Boyd, Darren Sharp, Nick Skariev, and Philip Paradiso. Hayden Jackson and Isaac Edwards are our 2 safety car drivers tonight. As is, I guess, Daytona tradition, it is going to be a rolling start. Difficult to do a standing start on the banking. Not impossible, but typically not advised. So in the order we just saw, they're all going to begin to form up, and we're going to take a parade lap then into the start of the race. Today's pace car is the Porsche 911 again, but it is the last time we're going to see it today, because for our safety cars we're going to get a Mercedes AMG.
Yes, we are. Something a little bit different to what we've seen. Unfortunately, we don't have the safety car we were supposed to have, which would have been an even bigger meme into something even more different, but it is what it is.
Variety is the spice of life, and we've had plenty of variety of safety car this season. It's a shame we couldn't get just a little more spice, but yeah, I mean, what are you going to talk about? Asymmetrical diameter rear tires and sometimes the juice just isn't worth the squeeze on that one.
Yeah, it certainly isn't, especially when it's not a very quick pace to go through the right-handers. So, yeah, probably a better idea that they didn't go with the option, but it certainly would have spiced things up if they did.
Oh well, you can't have everything. What you can have is the start of the parade lap, is you get this beautiful rear-facing shot from the pace car. Dylan Burse on the inside, and I think for the first time all season long, saying he shares the front row with Mario Vartanian actually means he's sharing the front row, because we're not taking a staggered standing start. It is going to be a 2x2x2 rolling start with Dylan Burse on the inside on the low side of the oval. Different paint scheme for Burse. What do you think?
It's very out there, I must admit. It's not the normal white, blue, and black that you normally see on a Vendale driver's car.
Kind of looks like it'd be the colors of packaging of like a bottle of flavored iced tea or something.
Interesting flavor of iced tea, I must admit. The fact that it's got flamingos all over it.
Yeah. Flamingo flavor with cranberry or something. I'm sure
Sounds...
You don't even know what flamingo tastes like, Jay. Come on. I've read that they get their pink color from eating an incredible amount of shrimp and prawns and whatnot. So I can only imagine if their color is because of what they eat, they also taste like seafood.
Yeah, look, in a drink form, I would probably not want to do that. In a food form, that probably wouldn't be a bad thing.
So put them in a Luxor, not an iced tea. There we go.
There you go. Flamingo soup, there you go.
Well, the field have mostly made their way around the formation lap, really beginning to pack up now. Dylan Burse, what's he going to do on the race start here? One wonders. He's still right up behind the pace car, not backing up the field so much yet. Of course, the safety car, the pace car, always dives from the racing line into the pit lane at the last physically possible opportunity. So Burst could back it up. Burst could wait right up behind the pace car. Vartanian on his outside seems very eager to have a bit of tyre temperature when we do get racing. It's 60 minutes ahead of us to bring home Club Day Masters. Dylan Burse on the pole, about to get us underway. Safety car pulls in. We wait, and Barney waves the green flag, and not a great jump from Burse, but he does have the insiders immediately. A few cars are down onto the apron. They are 3 wide with the Ilek cars and Adam Sharp. But Burse looking good from pole position. Jack Boyd trying to shove his nose down the inside is looking like he's going to go from second row up into second place, and they're already off into the grass.
Yeah, if you're getting on the green stuff rather than staying on the black stuff, luckily Shannon McMillan managing to avoid running into anybody, and everybody managing to come away 4 wide though in the middle of the field. That is not going to end well. Oh no, that's not definitely gone well for Dale Carpenter, who's been turned by Andrew Hobby.
Oh, for a second I thought Carpenter was going to save the 360, but he's in a world of hurt there. Doesn't look like too much damage on the car, but he's got to make sure to not cut the course. And it's bumpy on the banking on this old Daytona. It's bumpy on the infield too, as plenty of positions have chopped and changed within the top 10 off this race start, including Vartanian back one spot, and big movers Aaron Oliver and Caleb Hydes into 8th and 9th. But now let the slipstreaming commence as the lead that Dylan Burst enjoys rapidly begins to evaporate. Mario Vartanian gets the triple toe. Is he going to fight to get that second place back? He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it into the bus stop, but a little shortchanged on a bus ticket on this occasion.
Yes, certainly, and going to be quite a train of cars now with the fact that everybody's managed to get their way through the bus stop, and Mario Vartanian looking like he wants to kind of get a little bit of a move on the being on the rear bumper of Jack Boyd. But look back here, 3 wide through the middle of the second. Scary of just casually disappearing there, but as you can see, to the outside goes Jack Boyd, and now Vartanian pushing Dylan at Burst with a bit of a bump draft as they come through the trial, and Burst is barely going to be able to get that one in the end. They came across the stripe with only 1300ths difference between the two of them. Boyd's going to go around the outside of Vartanian. Vartanian's going to try and hold the inside. He's going to have the outside for turn 2, inside for turn 3, and then going to have to try and hold it around the outside of the International Horseshoe. Boyd sends it in hard and will take that position off Vartanian after parking on the apex.
It's all a little, a lot of effort for not much at the moment, knowing that there's still pit stops and safety cars, etc. in our future. You just want to stick with the leader at this point, I would imagine, but history tells us that's not how Mario Vartanian races. If you're Dylan Burst, you wanted to see them keep going like that, to let you break away. But no such luck, as it is one train for our whole top 14 runners. Then a little bit of a gap to Greg Holmes in 15th. When you get the long shot, you can see that it is just all Audi in a line for our top 14 still. There goes that Delta flight, the 737.
Yes, indeed it does. It's
better than being on a United 777.
Yeah.
Tropical humor. As the racing continues through the bus stop for another time. Imagine there's a big rear vision mirror in these TCR cars, and Boyd's probably spending a bit of time looking backwards at where Vartanian is thinking about sticking his nose. You talk about that limiter in 6th gear, and that kind of protects you if you're in the train here, because eventually, you suck up behind the car in front, you hit the limiter, the driver behind you hits the limiter, and everyone just holds station at that maximum speed.
Yeah, certainly. So if you can hit that limiter for as early as you possibly can, really, you're probably in a very, very good position, unlike everybody else who's going to probably hit it a little bit. No, actually, you want to hit it as late as possible, so then you're not on the limiter. So that way you're going to have a little bit of a speed advantage, but a little bit of a checkup going on in that 3rd, 4th place
that's
battle going on. And that's
very deep.
That's an odd parking spot.
Yeah, Damien Cairns. Has he had a bit of help there with a... Oh no, I think he's done that himself.
Yeah, it just looks like he's gone in a little bit too deep and lost the rear end, and as a result, he's unfortunately ended up in that tyre bundle that has claimed so many people over the years around this track. But back to the front of the field, Lee Harrison sending it up the sending it up the inside of Vartanian to take 3rd place off him. So he'll move it into a podium position, but Vartanian's going to want to try and get this one back. He's closing up rapidly, and he's going to look to the outside on the way through NASCAR 2 and down towards the bus stop. Now decides to back out of it. A little bit of a brake application there to slow himself up and slot back in behind. Yeah,
optimistic move through the infield from Vantagiato, gets him into 3rd, but then checked them up a bit compared to Burst and Boyd. Then get a good run through the bus stop, and there is finally a 1 second gap somewhere in the top 15 or so cars between 2nd or 3rd. Can Vantagiato get on with the job and not let 1st and 2nd break away? It's going to be interesting to watch. Taking the 1st and 2nd, there's not much between them either. As we look, his teammate in lapel Lee Harrison is making moves forward as well. So no patience from those guys, as Vantagiato did, I think, manage to pull a bit of time back on burst.
Yeah, I do think he managed to claw a little bit of time back to him, but you can see the gap kind of closing down a little bit on the infield, but not quite what they need to, not quite as much as they need to be. But Aaron Oliver trying his hand around the outside at the International Horseshoe, currently down in P10. He hasn't really gained much off at the start, having started down in P11, remember, so not really moving forward too quickly, although probably not too bad of a thing concerning
he was in
eighth.
He was in 8th earlier, and now he's back here scrapping in 10th. So didn't see precisely how that one happened. Hansford Taylor is going to have a send and a half there at turn 6. That's actually where Vantagiato came through for 3rd as well. So the driver's getting a good run off that second horseshoe, deciding they don't want to wait for the banking and going there, but it costs a bit of time for this pack. Hansford Taylor's got the fastest lap of the race.
Oh, that was very, very close as well for Adam Sharp. But Anthony Hansford Taylor certainly with a little bit of pace at the moment, having the fastest lap of the race, but quite sure what Aaron Oliver's doing. It just seems to be constantly going backwards, and now as a result, they've lost that lead at Trainer Cars, which consists of the top 9. What's Aaron Oliver going to do here through NASCAR 3 and 4? He's going to look to the outside of Matthew Hansford Taylor as they come down towards the trioval to start the next lap 5, and first pit stop happening now. Ivan Vantagiato deciding to come down onto lane. Very, very interesting strategy call there to pit as early as he has, but you can see there Aaron Oliver still battling on the outside, and 3 wide on the way into turn 1 to 4 wide. Oh no, that's not what he needed, and round he goes.
Yep. Check up into turn 1 led to problems for Aaron Oliver. You saw Adam Sharp getting in there, and Andrew Hobby as well. So, bit to pick apart there with a virtual racing school replay. Yeah, Hansford Taylor and Oliver side by side, and then Adam Sharp. It kind of looks like Sharp tries to make it 3 wide, and it ends a little predictably.
Yeah, unfortunately, Aaron Oliver coming off second best in that all as well, and he's going to have dropped a number of places as a result of that. He's possibly going to slot. He's going to slot in just behind Andrew Hobby. So
it's a long stop from Vantagiato. Has he been a naughty boy with the pit lane speed limit?
Oh, based on the time he sat there, I want to say he has, but I don't think he had. Oh no, he definitely has. He's well and truly sped into the lane, and that's not what he's going to want at all, with the fact that he's now well down the order and pretty much 3/4 of a lap behind.
Proper speedway strats. He's just got to stay on the lead lap at this point, though. I think that'll be the key. A lot of that will come out in the wash, and it gets more critical at the final pit stop and in the final half of the race. There is a little bit of an idea to sort of hold station at the moment, a bit of a holding pattern. The race will come alive later. Darren Sharp, not great in the bus stop. You see Jack Boyd bumping Dylan Burst to try to stay away, keep that 1 second from Vartanian. It's Hansford Taylor. It's going to come onto the lane. You know, in the 30-minute races, we see people pit end of lap 1, lap 2, lap 3. They pit very, very early. So in comparison, the fact that everyone, the bulk of the field, has gone 5 laps or longer is a little different than how the strategies were kind of working out in the more sprint format races.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a little bit more patience as well with the fact that it is a 1-hour race instead of the dual sprint races, and the fact that there's a little bit more on offer as well. Both still 200 points, but certainly it's only one race, so you can't really afford to have any sort of mistakes in this sort of a race where it's only one race rather than 2, and you can make up for them with those 2 races. But you certainly want to be working your way forward as best as you can and trying to gain as many points as possible.
It's Hansford Taylor again. another long stop. But the car was up on the jacks, which is different. Certainly not something anyone does in the 30-minute races. Maybe this is his strategy, is at the very first stop, give him some newer tyres and then don't take any later on. And you'll still be on, maybe fresher tyres than other people. Is that a consideration in a 1 hour race for these cars? I really don't think it's going to make a whole lot of difference.
I don't think it will make too much of a difference, but we might be fooled, and we might see it completely go the other way and it make a large difference, but we'll have to see what happens. But Jack Boyd doing a little bit of bump drafting with Dylan Burse at the front of the field as they come into the tri-oval. Burse going to the outside to let Jack Boyd up the inside, but Boyd decides to not take the opportunity to get on by, and it's just going to lift a little bit early and try and save a little bit of fuel as well.
Hobby on the lane, and he has a little bit of company as Shannon McMillan joins him. So each lap it becomes a slightly more popular place. Hydes, he's taken a couple of these infield looks. I swear we saw him doing the same at the other horseshoe earlier. He is up 5 positions in the race so far. Some of that would be people like Vantagiato pitting. But he has a look again, but this time I think that was well and truly on. Liam Caplice was well wide there.
Yes, it was a little bit door-banging as well for good measure between the two drivers, and Hyde's still trying to find a way on by. He's going to look to the outside on the way through NASCAR 1. And is going to clear Caplice well before they even got through the corner, and Harrison just looming in the background as well, and is going to get the draft off Caleb Hyde. So he's going to take a position off Liam Caplice, possibly. Not going to be able to get up the inside, though, due to Caplice slotting back in, but lets the door open, and up the inside goes Harrison. He's not going to look up the inside of Hyde's, though, and he's just going to decide to slot in behind Caleb.
I think Hyde's denied the 2-for-1 coupon on that one. I think Hyde saw it coming and then just moved across a little bit, and Lee Harrison decided, fair enough. One position gain will do, but how are they going to shape up now on the banking and past the large grandstands? Well, here's your leaders. Burse going for the lane.
It's Vartanian, sorry. Hen, Hydes, and Harrison and Caplice all coming down, as well as Sharp deciding to come down onto the lane with Aaron Oliver not too far behind as well.
Busy now all of a sudden, and it's more prudent to point out who carried on than who pitted. Jack Boyd, Richard Brookfield, Sam Lehman all continue on. And as from deeper in the pack, we get even more drivers. Andrew Hobby, very short first stop, means he is the leading of the cars that have pitted. He is the measuring point for which we need to compare Dylan Burse and Christopher Henn, as they are now done and getting back out on track.
Yeah, certainly, so we'll see where they come out in relation and what their pit stop time is in differential. Looks like Hydes hasn't jumped Caplice as well, so Caplice has actually jumped Hydes in the lane. Hydes nearly running into the back of him, but Aaron Oliver's come out just in front of Glenn Boyd, so coming out roughly where he was.
Carpenter and Skaryev together there. Always interesting to see, especially around pit stop time, how much of that pit exit road you want to use to open up the run into the hairpin. Seen many a race end in grief. Someone on the racing circuit tries to come across left, not realizing someone is using pit exits. You've got to be careful doing that one.
Yeah, certainly have to be quite careful on pit exit with the fact that you've got those yellow anti-cut curbs there as well. And down onto the lane. A few more drivers to get their pit stops out of the way.
Yep, Boyd and Brookfield in means Sam Lehman is the only one not yet on the lane, but now he is. So everyone for one trip onto the lane. The real outliers in the pit stop times so far, we talked about Vantagiato. We saw Matthew Hansford Taylor taking tyres. Adam Sharp also with a longer stop, which could have been tyres and could have been speeding on pit entry. This, of all tracks, so easy to speed on the pit entry.
Yeah, very easy to do, especially when you're coming down there at well over 200 kilometers an hour and you got to slow down to just under 100 at 88 kilometers an hour. So very, very easy to speed into the lane. But coming out of the lane is a Jack Boyd, and he's just going to slot in ahead of Dylan Burse as well. So very, very close on the exit, and Brookfield's going to slot in just behind Harrison as well.
Yeah, the battles reunite and form back up after the first pit stop. Still one pit stop required deeper into this race. So I guess lessons learned from the pit entry, from the fuel, still to carry on. I guess the moment the window opens to get to the end, you're going to want to make sure you've made that second stop, aren't you? It seems unlikely that we'd see sort of pit stops and then a green flag run to the end after them.
Yes, certainly. There is the other thing, though, with the fact that we are using manual safety car, and that pit lane isn't going to be closed when the safety car is called as well. So you're not exactly actually going to lose anything, even if you did wait till the safety car came out. So, yeah, a little bit interesting. Everybody's decided to pit as early as they have, possibly fuel limited as well, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But certainly still got those two safety cars to come out, so we'll have to wait and see if everybody decides to use this as a little bit of a longer run rather than try and get the two pit stops out of the way early.
Great view of Jack Boyd from the nose of Dylan Burse. Cheeky little nose it is. Is he looking at Jack Boyd and trying to grab a position, or is he trying to cover off Christopher Hen, Mario Vartanian, etc.? Hen was a pretty big winner through the pit stops here. Look at him running in third, and it's not from having a massively short pit stop either. He, I guess he just pitted the same lap as Burse and managed to mainly follow him around and jumped some others. So he's not carrying any less fuel than everyone else around him. Christopher Hen has just gotten lucky with the lap that he chose and had a clean in, clean out, and ended up running third.
And he's certainly no real advantage in the pit lane, so he's put himself in a very, very good spot at the moment. But Martini clearly thinks he's been held up a little bit by Christopher Hen, with the fact that they're now actually starting to have a little bit of a gap build to Dylan Burse and Jack Boyd at the front. So we'll see if Martini wants to get a little bit of a move on and decide to get on by this time around. But we'll have to wait and see. It looks to the inside on the way down towards the bus stop, but thinks better of it and decides to slot in behind.
First safety car of the evening. Still expecting one after this, but as the leader comes through the final sector, we're going to see... Ooh, I wonder which safety car we're going to get. I think we're going to get the red one, as Jack Boyd motors around to catch the safety car. I'll be right on board with, really backs it up, and Vartanian it was. He's really going to back the field up a little bit. There's the safety car in the window. But who is going to pit? I've busted out my calculator a little bit here, Cam. And I think with the restricted fuel tank size, that they fill the car up, and it's probably only good for about 30 minutes. So no one's going to be able to pit and get home from here, I wouldn't think, unless they can really, really soft pedal it behind this and the next safety car. Dale Carpenter is on the lane for a second time, but everyone else, as you say, it's pit lane staying open, could have chosen to pit just then, and no one has. So if you have a better interpretation of how long 32 litres should last in these TCR cars, let me know. I think 100 litres goes about 100 minutes, therefore 32 litres should go about 32 minutes. I actually didn't really need the calculator for that one, did I?
Didn't sound like it did. You did in the end, but there is some logic to the madness of pitting under the safety car, in that you top up the tank and then you're going to have a shorter final stop, with the fact that you're not going to have to worry about pitting as early as everybody else, and also not having to take as much fuel as everybody else. So your final pit stops, in theory, going to be quite a bit quicker than everybody else who's decided to stay out and not come in this time around.
We had the silver safety car at Spa. I'm just trying to count on my fingers and toes how many different safety cars we've had.
There's a Porsche, know that.
Right, recapping. Behind the safety car now in Club Day Masters, Jack Boyd leads from Dylan Burse, Christopher Henn, Mario Vartanian, Lee Harrison, Richard Brookfield, Caleb Hydes, Liam Caplice, Andrew Hobby, and Aaron Oliver. Biggest mover in the top 10. Andrew Hobby up 6.
Surprised he's only actually gained that many places as well, with the fact that we've been going for nearly 30 minutes and we've had a pit stop as well. So not too many big movers and shakers in the field, but few making their way up the field, at least from the starting position. Nick Scario is nearly up 10 as well after starting in 23rd.
He needs to qualify better then. As you got Damien Cairns trying to catch the pack. He got a wave around, did he? I guess he's on the lead lap now, which is amazing for the fact that heavy equipment would have been required to get him unstuck from that barrier in turn 1. But all goods. He's going to catch the pack back up. Couple cars going for pit lane. Hanson Taylor, Adam Sharp. Those two. Been thinking more about the fuel range in these cars, and I think at Daytona, actually, you're going to get a little bit shorter than 100 minutes from 100 litres. It's going to be more like 90 minutes or so. We're probably realistically looking at closer to 28 or 29 minutes of fuel with the restricted tank. So you are going to have to save and save and save if that was going to be your final pit stop. But to your point and your thinking, Cam, if you were in the sort of the second half of the field, not a bad idea to top the car up and then maybe give yourself a 5, 6, 10 second shorter final stop. And that could be very, very valuable depending on when and how the safety car lands. I think the track position is important enough if you're Boyd or Burse or Henn in the top 3 here. From the back of the pack, where you weren't going to lose much of any track position from pitting now. Probably would have benefited a couple of more guys to have pitted.
You certainly would have helped a few of those a little bit down the order to top that tank up. Possibly even take tyres as well to try and help yourself near the end of the race when everybody else is on slightly older tyres. Might be something that a few people decide to gamble on later in the race and under that second safety car as well.
Yeah, and twofold, what a great time to take tyres, because you get to catch all the time back up, and then you get a lap or so behind the safety car to warm those tyres up before we actually go green flag racing. That is the easiest tyre change you will get in TCR racing. Safety car is about to come in though, and we're about to get racing again. 33 minutes left to go. Dylan Burst is right up behind Jack Boyd. Christopher Hen's leaving a teeny bit more space there, and now Jack Boyd goes. We are racing again in Club Day Masters at Daytona.
Yeah, certainly are, and not too bad of a restart for those top two as well off the start. Hen a little bit back from being on the tail of those two, and Vartanian's looking very, very racy. He's not going to look to the inside. He's going to look to the outside of Christopher Hen. He's not going to be able to get a move done though, but Andrew Hobby and everybody else further back in the field, the likes of Vantagiato especially, getting his hands full with everybody going on around him.
It's all calm in the top 10-ish. A little bit more moving and shaking behind that. Here's Vartanian shaping up for third. Just down the inside of Hen. Decent enough, and then because you've got the inside, you get the draft of first and second, as well as the shorter route around down low next to the apron in the yellow line. Hen not giving up on it. Much of a side draft in these cars, you reckon?
Possibly not, but nevertheless, Vartanian's not going to let this one go easily, and he's going to
not quite a NASCAR spec spoiler on him, is it?
Yeah, certainly not.
Aggressive on the entry from Vartanian is what it takes for him to solidify third. Definitely cutting up a little bit of the beautiful Daytona grass. I'm not sure Harrison's going to make much progress on the high line here. No one to slipstream off, taking the wrong way around.
To the inside, just under the yellow line, on the way down the front straight on the tri-oval. Barely going to be able to squeeze on by Christopher Hen, and they're already onto the back of Vartanian as Copsy hook check does. Christopher Hen barely manages to keep it going, manages to get back up the inside though of Lee Harrison, and he's going to be side by side. Oh, another whack to the side, and nearly ends up hitting his own teammate. But certainly Brookfield going to send it up the inside of Christopher Hen now on the way through the International Horseshoe. Just about going to get the drive off the corner. He's going to be stuck on the outside for the kink though, and he's going to just decide to slot in behind his teammate of Christopher Hen.
Caleb Hyde's behind these two, has been looking one way, looking the other. One of his favourite places to make a move in this horseshoe has been covered off. Right in the eye-leg. Sandwich, two in front of him, one behind. Okay. Oh, Oliver gets a hit from Hobby, and I think Oliver has hit the tyre barrier there, causes a check-up behind as well, that Sam Lehman enters, and Aaron Oliver gets going again. Yeah, right on the turn in there for 6. He got a good old tap from the back bumper.
Yeah, certainly didn't. Ended up in the tyres as well. Don't actually look like there's any damage to the car though, which is very, very odd. But nevertheless, he's got away with that one. Luckily, scot-free, and not going to have
sharing a
anything to worry
session
about
with the Mercedes GT3 Cam.
That's true, but he still did hit the wall quite hard. You have to remember. So,
Nose in. That's the worst bit as well. You know, the rear of the car, meh. The front, you got to worry about the radiator, I guess. We're going to take a look though. Yeah, Hobby just wasn't expecting where everyone else was braking, I think, on that one. Didn't even look like much of a brake check or anything from Oliver. I think was mainly minding his own business on that.
Yeah, certainly it looked like he was more or less an instant party in that one, unfortunately, and caught the short end of the stick.
Hey, Christopher Hen and Lee Harrison side by side. That's going to be good fun again. Harrison's going to hold on to fourth for the minute. Well, I've had to do the fingers and toes for the fuel economy, then keeping track of their incidents doing something else.
There's certainly a lot of battle going on down at the lower reaches of the field, and Andrew Hobby is towed it back to pit lane. He's been given a black flag as well for the contact earlier on, but we'll get a replay and have a look and see what's happened here, thanks to Virtual Racing School on the way through towards the kink. Something has happened here. He's just run a little bit wide and decided to park it off to the inside.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the last we're going to see of him this evening. That was an exit perfectly timed with race control announcing his penalty. Not sure, but the top 8 cars form a bit of a breakaway pack. Now that we're a couple laps into this restart, Jack Boyd leading, but you can see everyone else close behind him. Is that a three-way bump draft going on? And Lee Harrison up high wants none of it. Doesn't look stable for Dylan Burse in the middle.
Very busy for Lee Harrison. Has to back out of that one on the way through the little S's before they get to the International Horseshoe, and he's looking up the inside trying to defend from Mario Vartanian at the same time. It's all going on behind them as well, with the likes of Brookfield, Hides and Complete all battling out very, very hard, and Caleb Hides trying to get away from Liam Complete. He's just going to slot in ahead, but he's still got at least one more car to pass if he wants to get onto the back of this lead train.
Lee Harrison currently the owner of the fastest lap of the race. Fastest clean lap of the race. No, the fastest lap of the race. Well, a replay to accompany us.
Oh.
Not great. Not great for Adam Sharp there. Becomes the second victim to that tyre barrier. So coming down off the banking, right as you're braking, right as you're turning, and you hit that bump, car went from very pointy to the nose being a little bit blunted.
Yes, certainly. And he's actually got damage, so damage clearly isn't off, and certainly quite a wounded left front corner on that Audi, but certainly going to try and have to mitigate that damage. He's going to have to get some repairs done in his next pit stop, but a big old bump draft going on for Dylan, or between Dylan Burse and Jack Boyd Harrison. Kind of wants to get involved, but doesn't really at the same time. Decides to just sit in behind, as it's all a little bit of squabbling going on behind them as well.
Hides had a good look at Lee Harris, not Hides. Vartanian had a good look at Lee Harrison, but Hides is definitely in this pack as well. He's got, what, 3 Ilex, 2 Iridiums. Well, the way they squabble really does help Jack Boyd stay at the front on this end. Oh, there's some mowing from Hides. See Andrew Hobby. No, not Andrew Hobby rejoining the race. It was Damien Cairns and Philip Paradiso who just made their second pit stop. So maybe they've seen that they're just within the window to get home, having done 13 and 12 laps respectively. They pitted very early. So actually, they might have just, rather than seeing their window to get to the end, might have actually run out of fuel in their middle stint and needed to pit. It makes them the first two drivers with 2 full and proper stops. But Hansel Taylor and Adam Sharp, a bit iffy on whether they will get to the end.
Yeah, pretty sure they'll get to the end here, and with the fact that there hasn't been a second safety car yet, they'll actually been in a very good position with the
Harrison to the lead.
Come to it, and Harrison hasn't he got to the lead of the race. He's decided just to blow on by Burst and Boyd, which is a little bit interesting, but nevertheless.
Right. Looks like Burst was pushing Boyd, and still Lee Harrison got ahead. So I wonder if they strategically backed that one up a little bit. So now it's Harrison from Boyd and Burst. And Christopher Henn, the next car back. That's just enough space to change lanes. And the spotter says clear, you're clear. If you turn down and they're still there, it's your spotter's fault.
I mean, yes and no.
There they go, your first 8. So we had Jack Boyd leading train numero uno. He's now a bit of a helper engine, pushing Lee Harrison up and along. Meanwhile, it's his dad, Glenn Boyd, is leading the second pack of cars in 9th. This is it, with Vantagiato along for the ride. So it runs in the family, I guess.
Yeah, clearly does. And just looking at this front battle, Harrison's actually broken a little bit of a gap to those behind. And just thinking about what Boyd and Burst did just before, I wonder if a little bit of gamesmanship going on with the fact that they decided to lift out of it and now be the ones to save fuel rather than Harrison. And out around the outside goes Ian, and a bit of contact between himself and Burst. How he managed to save that, I've got no idea, but just managed to get away with it. Burst having to go and take evasive action. Vartanian slotted on through. They're going to be 2 by 2 on the way down towards the International Horseshoe, and Burst is going to get back on by Christopher Hen, and Hides is going to get by Brookfield, get a virtual racing school replay of what's happened here, and just see Hen just kind of turn down on Dylan Burst, and somehow Hen's managed to barely hold on to that one.
Yeah, difference in closing speeds there. There's our top 3 is now Harrison, Boyd, Vartanian on the lane. I hope they turn the motor off in that safety car so it doesn't blow itself up idling. But I've seen Vantagiato, Sam Lehman, Brady Buchanan on the pit lane, about 13 seconds of fuel each. As with 20 minutes left, there's going to be 10 laps left. Lee Harrison leads for the moment. Third apex, I think, is the most critical one for the bus stop. We will have our second and final, I was going to say hopefully final, but definitely final safety car of the evening to grab the pack with Lee Harrison as your leader.
Yeah, so second safety car period are finally happening, and it looks like we've got Jack Boyd deciding to dive down onto the lane, as well as Hen, Brookfield and Caplice all diving down onto the lane, and I'm not quite sure why the others didn't decide to come on in. Everybody else has decided to come on in from pretty much 11th on back. Sharp stays out, though. That's an interesting play considering he's got damage to deal with. But, yeah, that's very, very odd.
Again, another time where we look at who hasn't pitted rather than who has. Very, very sharp looking pit stop from Jack Boyd. I think sees him lead off the lane of all who pitted. But right up behind the safety car is Lee Harrison, Mario Vartanian, Dylan Burse, and Caleb Hydes. You've got to be careful, Lee. You can collide with this particular safety car as it tries to maintain about 70 k's an hour.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of a little bit confused that they're making the safety car go as slow as that. I thought the whole point of the manual safety car was to be a little bit quicker than what the normal safety car speed is, which is 96 kilometers an hour. So, yeah, not quite sure what the idea is there.
I thought of the same thing too at Spa, where the safety car can get up a bit more speed down straights like Kemmel or something, for example, while still being safe, and it didn't. So anyway. There's your safety Mercedes. There is your leader Lee Harrison with Mario Vartanian, Dylan Burse, Caleb Hydes, and Aaron Oliver and Adam Sharp, the top 6 who haven't pitted for the final time. At the back straight or near pit entry, I can nary tell. Especially this older version of Daytona where they've got a big grandstand there on the back straight that's now no longer such a thing. But what they do have... Wait, does this version have the party porch near the bus stop?
I don't believe so.
Oh, there's RV parking. There's a Class A and a Class B. We're taking a look. Okay, there's the garages in the infield. All right, there's... We got to get around towards the bus stop. Very, very irresponsive blimp pilot and operator today. Before they had Daytona Rising, there was a party porch. Our leaders come around to the other side of the track and it's reset the camera operator. Don't bother humouring me because we are going to be going racing again at the end of this lap. Not far away from action. Wait, are we? Lee Harris is coming late. Safety car stays out. Okay, no, yeah, it's racing at the end of this lap. True. So that puts Jack Boyd back through to the lead with Brookfield in second, Hen in third, Liam Caprice fourth, and Vantagiato in fifth place. And those who are just pitting now, Burst, Valtani and Adam Sharp, are going to end up right at the back of the pack.
Still confused as to why everybody decided to come down the second time around. Doesn't really make a lot of sense considering they've now just ended up at the back of the train.
Yeah, a little bit of a whoopsies, but to try to make up for it, Mario Vartanian has gone and put a new set of front tyres on. So is that going to help him with his favourite move of showing the nose in this corner here at every conceivable opportunity? Looks like he's trying to warm them up on his way to catch back up to the pack as well, though.
So I think the big question here is how quick can these guys at the back make their way through the field in just over, well, just over 13 minutes, pretty much. No, make it 13 minutes because of the fact by the time they get there, it'll just be over.
Yeah, that'll mean 7 laps to go. Safety car is going to come in at the end of this one. Jack Boyd, for the upteenth time, is going to lead the field to a restart, and he's got iRacing Cars right behind him for the next 2 positions. There goes the safety car for the last time in the season. Jack Boyd is making him wait. And now, the flag waves again. And everyone was fully ready for that. There are some gaps in the pack, but not for Jack Boyd as he leads into turn 1. There's a bit more action behind. Hansford Taylor gets gobbled up a little bit. 2 cars down the inside.
And now having to deal with contact from Buchanan. He's not quite going to save it. And, oh no, no.
Dylan Burst sending it more wide, and Scary Evan Hansford Taylor have come together. My goodness, that was well. Adam Sharp got his car fixed at least, and at the front, Jack Boyd leads. Richard Brookfield leads Liam Caplice because I think Christopher Hand has been sent backwards a position. A slightly confusing restart in the middle of the pack there. Front though, it was a little more sensible. There's a move going on right behind this. That was Carpenter going, well, still side by side with Vantagiato. Now Greg Holmes is off in a difficult place where it's paved now.
You just got to touch the grass on the way into turn 6, unfortunately, and lost the rear end. Carpenter's going to look to the inside of it. Vantagiato, though, on the way down towards the bus stop. This is going to be a little bit brave if he gets it up the inside. They're going to be side by side through the bus stop, and Carpenter gets shuffled out a little bit wide as a result of a little bit of contact. And now Lehman's going to be right on the tail. And there's the replay in the bottom right hand corner of what happened on that restart. And unfortunately, Scary of being an innocent victim in that, you have to feel for the guy. He just does not have any luck, unfortunately.
None whatsoever, as those drivers who pitted late and have to work their way back through the field like Mario Vartanian are trying to make moves on the oval. Now he switches back at the apron, but by the time you hear everyone's on the limiter, I guess, and you have to be very aggressive on the brakes, which he is, as Oliver gets the Tokyo Drifto treatment. He might have come across the nose of someone there, and that's hurt him quite significantly as he loses a bunch of positions. Sam Lehman's in trouble. He's gone and lost a bunch as well.
A little bit of contact with our Carpenter by the looks of it. He sent it up the inside very, very late, and then just gave him a bit of help to move it out of the way, and he's going to lose another position. Glenn Boyd as well as Sam Lehman.
I knew this was going to happen. A bit tame for the first half or so of the race. And then all kick off now. It's a 10-minute dash to the checkered flag. Particular iridium machine is that. Mario Vartanian is now commander-in-chief of this train with Paradiso McMillan, and basically the whole second half of the grid behind him. He's got a big 2 seconds to bridge to Caleb Hydes, who then has another big 2 seconds to bridge to Lee Harrison. He's going to work his way into contention for anything resembling a top 5. Whoa!
That's a messy little pack there.
Yeah, it sure is. Brady Buchanan is on the lane to serve drive-through penalty. I'm not quite sure we saw particularly that one.
It was for the incident at the intentional horseshoe off the restart as well, involving the likes of Scary and Hansford at Taylor. So serving that drive through now after what happened. And getting a virtual racing school replay of Christopher Hen sending it up the inside of his team. No, actually, well, sending it up the inside and also hitting his teammate, which you don't want to do at all. Liam Complete somehow manages to get away with that. Vantagiato, though, sends it back up the inside of Hen as a result of that little bit of a mistaken checkup. So he will take the position off him and be a happy camper in fourth.
Some action on the live pictures now as Vantagiato is going to get himself into third position. And Boyd and Brookfield maybe making a bit of a breakaway at the moment. Bump from Caplice to the bumper of Vantagiato. I think they want to keep this all in picture. The teammates go side by side through the bus stop, which isn't the fastest way around to staying in touch with the leaders. Wow, is there maybe a little bit of love lost between Hen and Caplice after what we saw turn one?
That's a very, very odd situation there for Dale Carpenter. I'd say that's possibly a technical issue based on what's happened there.
Well, we're going to look again, but I think some reading between the lines is necessary. Well, huh.
Very odd.
Sure is. Dylan Burst making moves. I'd have to look back to see what position he was on the restart, but he was one of the drivers who pitted second time around rather than the first time when pit lane was open. So he would have started quite deep in the field and is now up into 7th, looking at 6th, who's looking all the way up to 3rd. Paradiso in purple. Wide through turn 6, let someone else get to the preferred and the inside line, and that is going to cost a position or two. Change at the lead. Jack Boyd and Richard Brookfield had gone side by side. And Vantagiato had lost out to Christopher Hen. So if you're the ILEC guys, and there's any team games afoot, I'm asking Richard Brookfield to make Jack Boyd defend 24/7 every corner. Take him too wide through the kink in the infield, too wide through all the horseshoes. Whatever it takes to let Hen and Caplice catch up.
Yeah, certainly as he's looking down the inside is Caplice, and he's looking like he's going to get this move done with advantage. Is dragging up alongside the outside of Christopher Hen, but it's going on just at the front of the field, as well as Jack Boyd and Richard Brookfield are battling it hard out in the bottom right-hand corner, as Burst is now getting involved in this little scrap as well. He's going to be on the outside for the international horseshoe, as Vantagiato is going to hold the inside, and they're just battling behind them, as well as Glenn Boyd's going to fire it up the inside at Lee Harrison and take that position off him, and Burst copying a little bit of a hip check as well from Vantagiato. Caplice having to take evasive action as well to avoid contact. Burst side by side with Caplice through the kink, and Caplice is going to manage to hold on to that one and take the position. Well, at least he's going to try and take the position off Burst. He's going to hold it around the outside of the inside, and that's not going to go well for him, and straight into the barrier.
Yeah, it just hooks the rear, doesn't it, as they try to go too wide on the exit there, and Caplice gets turnaround and makes pretty hefty contact with the barrier. Here's the lead, where Brookfield is going to take it side by side with Jack Boyd. Pretty confident in saying Richard Brookfield, no wins yet this season.
Yes,
and it's going to be 2 laps to go when they get to the line. And right now, as things change, it is a 2-car scrap for the lead.
For Richard Brookfield, you probably don't want to be passing him anytime soon until you get that white flag call and are on the back bumper of Jack Boyd on the run to the line, because otherwise you're going to be sitting duck yourself.
More than 2 minutes left on the clock. This isn't going to be the start of the final lap. It will be 2 more from here, side by side for third in the background as well. And I think Vantagiato rolls out of that one. It's going to let Hen have it just for the moment. Sam Lehman is serving a drive-through penalty. It has been biff and barge at the horseshoes, and Sam Lehman was maybe a little too aggressive on one of them. Lead battle though.
So doing not too bad of a job, but being on the tail of Christopher Hen sized him up as well for that final lap, you'd have to think, and Lee Harrison just in behind him as well. So see what those two do in the closing stages. Scary of getting it, copying a massive whack from the side. Not quite sure who that was, but spinning off into the infield, and on a Shannon McMillan was the other car involved. Unfortunately, Scariev is going to be not too pleased with that one, and also I do think he's going to have a black flag as a result of cutting the course.
Yeah, 99% of the time, you go fender to fender and nothing happens. And well, Nick Scariev is the 1% a little too often in those probabilities. Really lifted him up into the sky and sent him sideways. Aaron Oliver getting down the inside of Mario Vartanian. Mario Vartanian not afraid to use the track limits as these guys battle over 9th and 10th place. Our leader, Jack Boyd, is going to start the final lap, though, for one more tour of Daytona, one more lap in the season of Club Day Masters. And it is all going on around 3rd place here.
Yeah, it certainly is. And look at everybody trying to find their own little bit of real estate and trying to find their own position. So what do you want to do if you're Christopher Hen? Do you make a quote-unquote mistake, or do you just try and fight your way to, well, stay at the front and fight your way to the finish line? Who knows? But Giato losing 2 places. There's not quite going to be able to get up the inside of it. Caleb Hydes. Harrison's now going to set up the run on Christopher Hen. And Brookfield's really closed that gap with Jack Boyd as well.
Yeah, he should be right there. But Boyd is a wily character, and I'm sure he knows what's coming on this final lap, particularly before the bus stop, through the bus stop, and then the drag race to the checkered flag here at Daytona. Jack Boyd will know where he will want to be. Let's see what we know and what we can find of Richard Brookfield. Has he saved something for this final lap? A win here, a 2nd place, either of them would make Jack Boyd champion. He knows that, but I'm sure he would still think about the win. This is a slowdown for Vantagiato, is it? Is he out of fuel?
I think he might be having a slowdown by the looks of it.
Jack Boyd is the leader, though, coming out of the bus stop into oval 3 and 4. Brookfield, half a second back, I think is too far back right now. He needed to be a little bit closer to get that run, to get the overlap before they stall out. Keep an eye in the background as well, where they're going to fan out 3 wide. Jack Boyd takes the win. Jack Boyd takes the championship in Club Day Masters. And and wind back the tape, get your camera out for who on earth took third place, because I'm seeing it was Caleb Hydes, but he was 3 wide with Lee Harrison and Christopher Henn. What a finish. Typical Daytona style. Jack Boyd brings the championship home in style. Well, here we go. Hyde's down low, Lee Harrison in the middle, Lee Harrison up high, Christopher Henn in the middle, and I'm seeing that Harrison did hold on to 4th place up high as they come to the checkered flag. There's only so much in it, though. Only so much in it, and Hydes had the run and used the apron.
There was absolutely nothing in it, especially between Harrison and Ian as they crossed the line. Only a bumper was the difference, really. So an extremely close finish between those 3, and Hydes obviously having quite a substantial margin over those 2, using the apron on the way through the trial.
Cool down lap. Here's Jack Boyd. There's Glenn Boyd. Thought he was going to give him a little bit more of a hello and a congratulations on that one, on that little flyby. Getting word of how Ivan Fantagiato lost all those positions on the final lap. It was fuel. Remember, he was running in the top 5. I think he was even running in front of Lee Harrison, who ended up finishing 4th, but ran out of fuel.
Yes, unfortunately, just 2 litres short was Vantagiata as well, hearing. So he was quite a ways away from getting to the finish line, unfortunately. But certainly a very, very close finish for everyone. And certainly Jack Boyd's going to be very, very happy with that championship.
Yeah, how close? Let's look how close. Jack Boyd is the winner, 2 tenths ahead of Richard Brookfield, who just needed to be 2 tenths closer coming out of that bus stop on the final lap. But sure, that was a strong suit of Jack Boyd through that complex. So he is a deserving winner and a deserving champion. Then Hydes, Harrison, and Henn, all within a couple hundredths of a second in that great photo finish for 3rd. Dylan Burse fought his way back up into 6th. Glenn Boyd for 7th was the biggest mover of the race, from 21st on the grid to 7th place. So a great day to be a Boyd. Aaron Oliver in 8th, Mario Vartanian 9th, and Matthew Hansford-Taylor to round out our top 10 in the 1-hour Enduro at Daytona.
Over the page, you have Shane McMillan and Matthew McMillan having a very, very close battle to the line between the 2 of them, 14th separating them, followed by Nick Skariev. You have Darren Sharp and Philip Paradiso running out the top 15 before Brady Buchanan comes home in 16th. After that drive through, Greg Holmes in 17th, 18th to Damien Cairns. Ivan Vintagiato comes home in 19th after running out of fuel, unfortunately, and Liam Cablice comes home in 20th.
Last 2 cars that finished on the leader's lap are Adam Sharp and Sam Lehman. Late drive-through penalty, very, very costly by the look of it. And then Dale Carpenter and Andrew Hobby, both competing for how far a dummy can make it from a pram, scored 23rd and 24th, with Hayden Jackson and Isaac Edwards, our race control and safety car drivers. Hayden Jackson completing 4 laps in the safety car. Well, our winner, Jack Boyd, knows where to find us, and he was in no hurry to get here, so I'm sure he made some celebrations. Let's see, though. Let's find the 3rd place finisher first, which was Caleb Hydes. Caleb, Daytona is Daytona is Daytona. You must have spent a lot of that race staring at the back of another Audi.
Yes, I definitely did. It was a long race behind heaps of cars. I was never at the front pack at all during that race. somehow at the end we were able to get through everything. There was a lot of chaos happening throughout the race, and we managed to get back up front and got third place, so it was all right.
It definitely needed the camera to determine who got third place. How did that look for you? How was your run out of the bus stop on that one?
Yeah, I made sure I'd have, let's say, enough incident points left so that I could take a bit of grass, get a better run. Luckily, I had quite a fair few to spare, so took that, got a good run, and just decided to take it down the inside. Seemed to work, and had a good run. So yeah, glad we could just take third at the line.
2 pit stops, 2 safety cars. The start of the race, had you worked out how you thought it was going to play out, or was it all just instinct and reaction to the circumstance?
Obviously calculated fuel numbers and that before the race, but on pit stops and went to pit, that was all during the race. And we got done really hard because we didn't realize, me, Dylan and Mario and Lee as well, we didn't come in when everyone else did under safety car, so that pushed us back to like down 15th place backwards. But we were all able, me and Lee and Dylan especially, were able to get through and work towards the front, and we were able to get within the top 10, so that was good.
Well, third place to round out the season is a handful of points. Well done.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So, third placeman Caleb Hides. We have another step up the podium to someone who maybe didn't stand on the podium as much as some others did. Richard Brookfield is going to be with Cam Dance.
Yes, certainly a very, very strong performance tonight, and probably one you didn't expect, Richard, but it's certainly have to be very, very happy to come away with the second place finish and end the season off on a high.
Yeah, it was a really good race. Very happy with that result.
As far as, obviously, you had 2 safety car periods, you had to make 2 pit stops, and with the fact that fuel was obviously the main catalyst towards what you did in the pit stop, were you trying to save fuel most of the time, or were you just trying to make your way through the field and then just sort of gauge off what everybody else did?
Yeah, it was pretty much just try and keep the car nice and straight and just keep up with everyone else for most of the race, and decided to hold out for an extra lap before I pitted in the first one, which was spluttering down pit lane, so it didn't quite pay off for me. But the second pit stop, we just lucked out and managed to duck in before most of the other field.
And seemed to all pay out in the end. Well, certainly a very, very good way to end the season off. And also, did you find there was any sort of how did you find Daytona in general? Did you find it actually quite good, or did it have some negatives that you think probably didn't really need to be there?
No, I've always enjoyed racing around Daytona. It's quite relaxing, you just get in the groove and away you go. It was a bit hard to make a pass with these cars here, though. They were very limited going down the straights.
Yes, there's one trait about these cars that certainly does lean to having to try and get moves done on the infield. Well, before we let you go, just any thanks and any shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, big shout-out to the iRacing Motorsport Racing Team and Ultratune, Aussie Karts, Marketing Tribe, and Club Day Masters. Thanks.
There you have it, David. All the sponsors covered and everything at the end.
He's coming for our job.
Yeah. But I believe you're standing by with our new champion.
Yeah, indeed. Race winner, Club Day Masters champion, Jack Boyd. Last couple of rounds we've spoken to you, you've said you wanted to play it safe, play the long game, think of the championship, but you still bring it home with the big W.
Yeah, I think that one was just a bit of luck. I mean, that last pit stop under safety car was what obviously sealed the deal pretty much. So unlucky to the guys in front. I mean, I heard the pit was open, so I just dived in, and unfortunately, it probably ruined a bit of a good race that was going to happen between us 5 guys. But still happy to obviously hear the call and just come straight in and get the good win in front of Richard.
yourself and Richard broke away towards the end there as well. At that point, how hard were you going to fight for the race win?
I think I was probably still going to fight pretty hard. I mean, I think Aaron had a pretty shocking run and he was second in the championship. So, yeah, I probably wouldn't have just let him have it. Definitely would have had a few elbows out. But, yeah, fortunately I had a few incident points left and used a bit more curb on the last laps through the chicane to get a good run onto the straight. So, yeah, that paid off and thankfully I didn't have to fight too hard.
Saw one or two drivers decide that in this hour race it was worth changing some tyres. Didn't see you do that. Did it ever cross your mind?
It did actually. When I come in for the last stop, and I obviously had a lot of time over the other guys that didn't get the pit in, I thought maybe just take two fronts. I mean, they're obviously the two tyres that are working the most. So I thought about it, but then the percentage came up and said I hadn't even used 15%. So yeah, I just took the gamble. Didn't really want to risk the track position too much. I was in a good spot, and yeah, just took fuel and I was on my way.
And Daytona in these TCR cars, are you happy to have staring at the red shift indicator behind you?
Yeah, the gearing wasn't ideal, and yeah, the front wheel drives don't really like the long radius corners again. So yeah, it was a good battle. I mean, it was heaps good racing. It would have looked great on the stream with all the drafting and the packs and everything. So yeah, that's great, and hopefully next season brings a new car and some other tracks. It should be good fun.
How does that rev limiter though affect how you carry a run or try to pass someone on the oval?
Yeah, it was pretty shocking. I mean, even without the draft, you'd get on the limiter. So I think it was probably halfway on that last oval banking section. You know, it would start hitting the limiter, and all the guys behind could just pretty much blast past you. So yeah, it was you had to be careful. I mean, if Richard was a bit closer, I might have even let him go and then get the draft on him for the last lap so I could try and pass him. But yeah, lucky enough, I had a big enough gap, I thought.
Well, 8 wins in the season, I believe, head and shoulders above everyone else. You are the Club Day Masters champion, Jack Boyd. Who are you going to thank?
Yeah, thank you. Just a big thank you to everyone behind the scenes, Ivan, Lee, Hayden, and Isaac for all doing their thing, putting it on every Monday night. It's been really good fun, and also the race control duties. They've done a great job. So yeah, looking forward to next season. Hopefully it's just as good as this one. So yeah, thank you everyone.
What a perfect end to a very, very interesting championship and season, brought to you, of course, by those on screen: Aussie Karts in South Australia, UltraTune, Modbury, Golden Grove, Digital Marketing Tribe, KP Tech, and Cam. I mean, we had some absolutely cracking rounds and races. Any highlights to you?
Probably all of them. I mean, it's very, very hard to pick a specific round on which one was the best and which came close and all that sort of stuff. They were all really, really good races in the end, with the fact that you just had battles throughout the field and you had battles to the line every single race, no matter what position it was for or who it was with. So yeah, it's been an absolutely awesome season, with the fact that you've just had some awesome racing, and yeah, can't wait for what next season's going to possibly bring.
And a deserving champion to add to it as well. Yeah, indeed. So confirmation, a new season of Club Day Masters in the works. Keep your eyes and ears open for that one. Maybe some tweaks, some changes, but I think they've seen what worked in this season, and I think the core of that probably won't be going anywhere. From all of us at SimSpeed though, myself, David Haynes, Cam Dance with me, Jay Kennedy, we bid you goodbye, farewell, and thank you for joining us on this journey of this season of Club Day Masters. Subscribe to us on YouTube and other platforms, whether you're watching on Twitch or Facebook as well. And I'm sure you'll be able to follow along with all the other great broadcasts we do, and also Club Day Masters going forwards. Goodbye.
fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top
Oh
here.
my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?